Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? Lance Moore, former Saint great, good enough to spend a couple of minutes with us here. Lance, thanks for the time, man. How are you?
Doing great. Excited to be on with you.
We appreciate it. When you're in the midst of a 5-game losing streak, something you didn't experience much in your career, but the 2005 season certainly wasn't a lot of fun. What's it feel like when you finally, for the guys in the locker room, when you finally get back in the win column?
You know, honestly, when you're in the daily grind of it, right, you lose a game and you basically, I mean, it's kind of a cliche thing, but it's a real thing. The 24-hour rule is real. So you don't really think about what happened after that loss. And then you move on to the next game and the next game and the next game. But honestly, after you've lost a few in a row and you finally get in the win column, you just basically breathe a sigh of relief. Ah, man, we did it. Like, thank you. It's good to be on the right side of things. And it just makes you feel better. I mean, you know, losing stinks regardless of what sport or anything that you're doing. Nobody wants to lose. And you know, guys bust their tails day in and day out to do everything they can to win. So when you finally get back on the winning side of things, it just feels great.
I mean, what do you think it was like? I mean, obviously knowing Sean Payton the way you do, I mean, it's the longest losing streak of his career. What do you think that was like for him?
I mean, I'm sure it was tough. I mean, I'm sure it was tough on everybody in that building, right? You know, you're kind of spoiled by the successes that they've had, you know, the previous 15 years, pretty much. I mean, you have a quarterback like Drew Brees, one of the greatest to ever do it. Just him alone is going to allow you an opportunity to win games. And not to say that the guys that are playing aren't capable of winning. Obviously, Taysom has, you know, shown that he can win games. But, you know, you kind of take those things for granted when you're in it, when you have somebody like Drew Brees around. And, you know, it's been tough sledding this year, eking out wins and other than, you know, the opening game against Green Bay. So, you know, it's a good and a bad thing, you know, a good thing that we're used to this type of losing streak, but a bad thing because we were just in it and it doesn't feel good.
So, but here's the really interesting thing about this team. As bad as the 5-game losing streak was, as tough as it has been to stomach the injuries, Lance, they're at 6-7. They're tied for the last playoff spot. Now they're in 11th, technically, because of tiebreakers, but they got the same record as the team in the last playoff spot in Washington. So when you look at this, if you're in that locker room, what is that conversation like as far as playoffs as a realistic goal?
Well, I think those conversations are happening daily. I mean, this isn't a team that has not been to the playoffs in a bunch of years and scared to talk about playoffs. I mean, this is a team that's been in the playoffs almost every year recently. So, yeah, I'm sure they're talking about it. I don't think they're scoreboard watching or praying for other teams to lose games. I think they just need to focus in on what they need to do to win games and, you know, just taking one game at a time, you know, and obviously this game, this coming weekend is huge, you know, going out to Tampa Bay, playing on Sunday Night Football. Obviously, Tampa Bay is one of the better teams in the league. Second or third place in the NFC, and obviously way out in front in the division. So, you know, even if it's just a situation where we go there for our own confidence and get a win, I mean, you know, it's kind of tough for us to think that we're going to come back and win the division at this point because we're so far back. But, you know, winning this game could go a long way for our confidence as well as the potential of going on a run here and making it into the tournament.
Lance Moore is with us. Okay, so before we look ahead to this weekend, let's look backwards first to Sunday's game against the Jets. Let me just get your assessment of Taysom Hill under center, seemingly healthier than we saw 10 days ago.
Well, you know, as the game went along, I feel like he got more and more comfortable. The ball looked a little bit better coming out of his hand, a little bit of a struggle early on in that game. But you know, it's something that he's just going to have to deal with. If he's playing quarterback, that mallet finger is not going to go away before the end of this season. So it's going to be something that I would imagine he's going to keep trying different things throughout the week to hopefully be able to feel more comfortable. But he did enough to win. I mean, you look at his numbers were not bad at all. And then you add in the fact that he's able to run the football successfully and not just on call quarterback runs. He's able to, take off when things break down in the passing game and extend plays or rush for first down. I mean, those things are huge. And the most important thing, I know he had a couple fumbles, but he didn't turn the ball over. That to me is more important than completions or him rushing for 40, 50, 60 yards. It's him being able to protect the football because the whole team is expecting him to do so. And once he's able to do that, then, the players around him are able to make plays. And, it's a full team effort to win games, just like that one was on Sunday.
Lance, we've talked so much really ad nauseum about the receiver group. That's your position of expertise. There's no Mike Thomas, and I think we realize there isn't like a number one superstar among this group. But how would you assess them right now with what they've got?
Well, I think the group is throughout the season, I would say. There's been some drop issues. There's no doubt about that. And I know that CJ, old Curtis Johnson, the same receiver coach that I had there for many years, is not going to allow those guys to just let those things go by the wayside. They're going to address those drops. They're going to get down to what it actually is that's causing the drops with these guys. I actually spoke to Kenny Stills this past week, and he said something to me that really rang true. He said, you know what, the targets sometimes aren't exactly ideal. And I said, you know what, that's okay. We're professional wide receivers, and we got to make the quarterbacks right. And he was like, you know what, you're right. You're right about that. You're right about that. Because there is no excuse for a guy dropping a football that touches his hand. I don't care how tough of a catch it is, how late or how out of place, or if there's somebody around them. You got to be able to make those tough catches. And we know that Drew Brees isn't coming back to play quarterback. And if Taysom or Trevor or even Ian Book ends up being the guy, the receivers have to step up and make plays. And they've done a better job of that recently. Tre'Quan has been playing well. Marquez, when he gets his opportunity, has been playing well. Juwan Johnson, who's a slash guy, a wide receiver / tight end, is a guy that's shown some ability. And we'd love to have all of our guys out there, but that's just not the reality of it. So the guys that are out there have to be the ones making the plays. And if we're going to be successful going forward, they're going to have to continue to do so.
Got a couple more for you. Lance Moore is with us. You talked about Taysom's stats being pretty good. They won the game on Sunday on the back of a really good defense, which they have been all year. A pretty explosive running game with Alvin Kamara, with Taysom Hill, and a good enough, serviceable passing game. What is the ceiling for a team when that is your strategy?
Well, I mean, look, if the defense is going to that and really shut teams down, then I think a definite playoff spot is there. And then once you get into the tournament, I mean, who knows what could happen? I mean, we saw that a couple of years ago when we hosted Minnesota, and they came in and nobody was expecting them to beat us. So right. Just being able to get into the tournament is huge for this team because we've got the running game and the defense that travels. I mean, that's going to be really, really important. And again, I mean, it's going to come down to being able to do all things well in the playoffs. If you ask me, you've got to be able to protect the football and protect the quarterback. You've got to be able to run and stop the run. And you've got to have guys on the outside that are making plays on both sides of the ball. And, you want to be able to win the turnover differential each and every week. And that's huge. I was a little bit disappointed that we didn't get any turnovers yesterday. I thought that was a great opportunity against a not very good offense and a quarterback that's really not playing with any confidence at all. But look, I mean, we know that Tampa Bay is going to be throwing the ball a lot this coming week. So there should be opportunity out there to get after Tom and hopefully take the ball away like we've done so much over the last 3 times playing.
We say it so much now because he's so special, but what more can you say about Alvin Kamara and the game he had on Sunday? I
was talking to my WDSU co-host Sharif Ishak during the game, and I said, "Man, AK looks great." Like, and it's been a while, even during this season. I mean, he looked so explosive and so fresh, and I mean, just every single time he touched the ball, I was like, "Wow!" Like this guy looks like he's been off, for 4 or 5 weeks, which obviously is not a great thing because
right.
he haven't won any, didn't win any of those games that he didn't play. But man, I mean, if that's a sign of things to come with him, shoot, I mean, everybody on our schedule better watch out because he looks like he's electric out there, and he's, like back to his old healthy self.
How weird was it seeing Sean Payton with no visor or hat?
I think I noticed it during pregame, but I really didn't think twice about it. But then I saw Mike Triplett or somebody from ESPN tweet something about it after the game, and I said, I don't know that I ever really noticed him not wearing a hat. Like, he would occasionally in meetings, not have a hat on. But usually when he's out in public, he would wear a hat. But, I didn't really think too much of it. Only thing that's really different to me is that he's wearing a shorter haircut these days than back in the day.
That's what happens when all of us age, man. It's not by choice; it's by default. But it was weird, man. No visor. Seeing him in the hat this year was weird enough instead of the visor. But now no visor or hat, just the headset and then the dome. I don't know, man. Sean, it's kind of like LeBron when he ditched the headband. I'm just not used to seeing it. But we'll all adjust, I suppose. He is Lance Moore, former Saint great. It's always a pleasure, man. Thanks for spending a couple minutes with us. We appreciate it.
Hey, no problem. If Sean needs to not wear a hat the rest of this season so we can win the rest of our games,
amen.
I'm all for it.
Let's do it. If you're superstitious, let's roll. No hats for Payton the rest of the way. Thanks, Lance. We appreciate it, man.
No problem. Thank you.
Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.